Howdy there, ladies and gentlemen. I I don't know why the hell I decided to go with the whole howdy thing. I'm not really a cowboy, or nor am I even from Texas, but you know what? You know what? Howdy aside, just ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? There you go. Today I'd like to discuss a little thing that I've been, pondering for some time, and that is the subject of every man's favorite thing to use. I guess also every woman's favorite thing to use, but I'm in particular talking about the men, as a man myself. So, for the ladies watching this video, you may tune out if you wish. If not, this can be an interesting to hear about. But this topic in particular for today is about dating apps. Those things that we have all at some point in our lives come across and have most likely used, whether it was for shits and giggles or actually being serious about using them and trying to find someone on these things. Now, first off, I am a straight male, so that's the first thing we need to get out of the way. So my experience with these types of apps is mainly just Tinder and Bumble, and I guess to a lesser extent Hinge, but I think I only used that for a couple months, didn't really see any results, and then left, and still kept the Tinder and Bumble, even though those don't really give you much results either. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, oh man, look at this loser, he's not getting any right swipes, he's getting left swiped at every turn, every corner. This guy's got no game, he's got no riz. Oh god. Maybe at my age using the word riz is a little, cringy in this case. I just thought about that for a sec, but that's beside the point. Basically, and it appears as though from what I've read online and articles I've read and things I've heard from different videos out there, apparently I am not the only one who does not seem to be blessed by the good fortune of being right swiped a lot. In fact, for the average male on these apps, getting right swiped is quite a challenge, and when you do get right swiped, the results may not be what you're looking for. I think I speak for a lot of straight dudes on these dating apps that when you get right swiped, the lady in question tends to, and I know somebody in the comments is going to bitch about this, but I frankly don't give a shit, and this goes to anyone who feels like putting trigger warnings in my video about anything I say. For starters, and I'm probably going to discuss this in another video, I don't care what I'm saying. I prefer to not have a filter. I'm not out here dropping slurs and insane shit like that. I'm not Kanye West, but I am an American, a Gen Z American who was raised on MW2, the good MW2 and all that, so, I come without a filter. I paused for a minute as I said that. That's beside the point. So, with these dating apps, gentlemen, I'm sure we're all familiar with when you do get a right swipe, you get excited, and obviously an app like Tinder nowadays, when you right swipe through it, it's like, you've been right swiped, but we're not going to tell you who unless you get premium, so you have to set the settings basically you just have to max out settings from 18 all the way to the highest age possible, which I think is like 80 to 100 years old. I don't know any 80 or 100-year-olds that are going to be using these apps. And then for distance, you got to go beyond 100 miles. And then eventually, if you're lucky, the app will just throw at you whoever the hell right swiped you. And unfortunately, you sometimes get blessed with the right swipe of a lady who is of questionable appearance. And by that I mean a rather large lady, not on the prime scale of what the average straight male is looking for, unless you are of the Jamaican variety and you like your ladies thicker than the average man would probably go for. Then by all means, then they're for you. I'm sure most of you are pretty aware of what I'm talking about. And if you don't get right swiped by one of them, there is a high chance that you get right swiped by a lady who has like a 7-8-year-old kid and is looking for a new man. Now, look, gentlemen, if you are looking to date, a woman who has a child already, then all the power to you. You know, if you're willing to take on the responsibility of another man's kid, then by all means, go for it. I, for one, though, am not going to take on such a responsibility, because that ain't my kid, and I'm not taking care of somebody else's kids unless I'm getting paid for it, which that would basically just be a daycare, and I don't want to work in a fucking daycare. So I'm not the most patient individual in the world when it comes to handling people. You know, my patience is like enough for things like customer service work and stuff like that. Not enough for handling. This is why I wouldn't do very well as like a nurse or a daycare worker. I don't have patience. I'd rather give that to somebody who does have patience. So, but anyways, yeah, no, single mothers with kids that are like 7-8 years old, look, or above, or basically single mothers with kids. You know, I don't know why I need to specify the age of the kid, but basically single moms with kids. If you're a man looking to date that, then, you know, by all means, all the power to you. You know, most of us just ain't interested in taking care of another man's kid. And the third that you may get right swiped on, this one's a little bit rare, but it has happened, is a transgender woman. Now, I know, as I'm saying that, as soon as you mention trans or transgender, the first thing that somebody will say is, "Are you transphobic, sir? Or why are you mentioning transgender specifically?" And to that I would say it's because when you're swiping on dating apps, there is a high chance that you will encounter someone who outright just says on their bio, which, by the way, anyone who's trans on these dating apps, you know, I do appreciate that you put on your description that you are transgender, because that at least, you know, helps to determine. Now, granted though, I can say that the average man probably is not going to read a lot of the bios that they come across on these apps. A lot of men are very smooth-brained in this sense. As a man myself, I've seen men who just right swipe on just about anything. If she looks pretty, she looks cute, I'm gonna right swipe on that. I give zero fucks. I did not bother to read the description or the terms and conditions of what I just right swiped on. I've just right swiped and called it a day. And honestly, if you right swipe on someone who if you're a straight male and you right swiped on someone who's transgender and you did not know that, even though it says it right on their description, and then you come to the realization that you have just right swiped on someone who's transgender, you, sir, have no right to get mad, because you are dumb and didn't bother to read the description. But these are basically the three options that you end up finding on dating apps as a straight male, and they're not very good options unless you're into any of those three. Then again, by all means, you know, go for what you like. But you know, for like 90-something% of straight men on these sites, that's not what you're looking for. You are looking for the, I would say, the 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 hottie that catches your attention, and you just want to right swipe on that and hope to God that you get that swipe of approval, indicating that you are the chosen one. You're like Anakin Skywalker or Donald Trump a couple years ago when he said he was the chosen one. You're like that. You're the chosen one. You've been chosen by this gorgeous woman who is willing to give time out of her day to listen to your spiel about how you would be the great partner that she is looking for, and you will be blessed to hopefully get a date, and then from there work onwards, and maybe, if the stars align and the planets have aligned and Israel and Palestine have finally settled their differences, and cats and dogs are raining from the sky, and you know, and everybody on Earth is wealthy, and utopia has finally been formed somewhere on this planet, and the Earth has become what essentially Coruscant in Star Wars looks like, a fancy utopia that's high-tech as all hell, then maybe by that point, you may be able to turn that date into a marriage. But that's optimistic thinking. In truth, you're not getting right swiped much. And when you do, you get the three that I just mentioned. And maybe, if you're lucky, you may get one of the of at least someone who's decent looking. Now, look, I'm not going to tell myself that I'm some sort of gorgeous man or some kind of handsome devil. I am not. You've most of you who have been following this channel, if you've watched any of the Twitch highlights or Twitch VODs that I have uploaded on here, you clearly know what I look like, and if not, I would like to direct your attention to the left side of the screen whenever you watch any of my stream VODs, whether here or on Twitch, and you will see what I look like. And sometimes I might blow up my camera to full screen so you can see you get a better view of me. So with that in mind, I'm not here tooting my own horn. I'm just speaking for the gentleman in the crowd. So when you're trying to right swipe, you're coming to the conclusion after right swiping and right swiping and right swiping for so many months, and you get no results from right swiping so much, you now come to the conclusion that, damn, why can't I land a match that I want? Am I just ugly? Am I just not capable? No, gentlemen, I am here to tell you, and I guess this is a boost of confidence, but coming from a straight male to other straight males, I don't think this really helps. Hey, I guess any word of encouragement will help. But no, gentlemen, it's not that you are ugly or you are unfit. It is because the algorithm of these apps is here to screw you over. What I mean by that is... Hold on, I gotta crack my fingers here. There you go. Anyways, what I mean by this is that the algorithm will tend to show you the most attractive women in your area. You will right swipe on them, thinking that you will have a chance with any of these women. And then at some point, you will start getting recommended some of the not so nice looking women in your area. And you're probably going to left swipe on a bunch of them. Basically tries to kind of figure out what your preferences are based on things like age or height or weight or race or sexual preferences or things like that. And eventually these apps form some kind of a good idea of what it is that you like. And so it tries to recommend ladies who will probably be of interest to you. The problem is that a lot of the ones that are of interest to you are of interest to thousands of other men in your area, and maybe outside of your area as well, if it's an app like Tinder, which allows something like, I think it's the travel mode, passport mode, baggage mode, whatever the hell mode it is. It's the one where you can basically be in like Wisconsin and be right swiping on ladies in like Miami. Like one of those modes. So now you're competing against men outside of your local area. So this, bumps the number up to like what, 5,000? And then on top of that, you might also be competing with men that are not even in the United States. I'm referring, everything I talk about on this channel is in relations to the United States, because I'm from the United States, I live in the United States, been here my entire life since birth, and this is my example to use for a lot of things. So you might be competing against men that are not even gringos like us, which now it puts your chances up to like you versus 10,000 other men. It's like a Scott Pilgrim story where it's you versus a bunch, well, not really her exes in this case, but more like the 10,000 men on Earth that are also right swiping on her. Now, in the lady's case, from what I remember reading, when a lady's swiping on Tinder or Bumble, she gets a ton of matches. And I mean a ton of matches. So for a lot of ladies on these apps, they are now stuck having to choose between the hundreds of thousands of men that have right swiped on them, and she may be interested in a couple of them, but the problem is that she can't date all of them. That's not possible. It would be like going through one of those speed dating rounds, or like that scene from Coming to America where they're trying to find a bride, and you just can't find a bride at all after meeting several different women in New York City, and all of them are not pleasant. Some of them are weirder than others, and one of them is just Arsenio Hall dressed as a woman. That was another option in there from what I recall. But no. Problem is that you can't go through something like this because you will never be able to find the right person. And at the end of the day, this brings us to the question of, will you ever find the right person? Now, I've been told by people close to me that at some point you will find the right person. You can't try to find the right person yourself. You can't just find the right person like trying to find a diamond in the rough, or a diamond in a cave, or a rock formation, or whatever, or solid gold down the river. You can't go about that method of trying to find the right one. Unfortunately, as we have, advanced as a society, I guess, and we've come to the wonderful year of our Lord, 2025. Standards have changed, and dating norms have changed here in the United States. So I'm just basically saying that if you are a straight male in America in 2025, your chances of landing anything are about as realistic as going toe-to-toe with Mike Tyson in his prime and expecting to win. Basically, that's your chances. And by the way, you're not a bulky boxer, you're still yourself and you're facing prime Mike Tyson. That's basically your chances. Your chances are slim to none. So, at this point, you're asking yourself now, why in the hell would I continue, going through the rat race, going through the whole idea of putting myself on this interstate highway that leads to nowhere, where you're constantly swiping right, swiping left, in the anticipation that maybe you will finally land the one. Gentlemen, I know I sound pessimistic here, but I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. From one man to every other man watching this, I don't think that these apps are a very viable option. I mean, I know they haven't been a viable. Some people are gonna be like, "Whoa, Sherlock! No shit, really? They're not a viable option?" Well, yeah, they're not. But after having used them for so long, sometimes I use them just for the hell of it because I'm bored. Might as well browse the singles in my area, and singles in my area don't seem to be responding. But it's still a entertaining thing to do to kill some time while you're sitting there waiting for your video to upload, or I don't know, if you're on the toilet or something, or if you're eating dinner, or if you're doing your daily chores for the day and you need something to distract your mind as you're vacuuming or dusting or something. This is a good time killer. Just swiping, even though you know very well that none of this will lead to anything. Which, again, you would ask, why are you in the rat race? The best way to win the rat race is to not play at all. But I don't really know if I would label what someone like me would do as really, playing within the rat race, because I'm not actually trying to achieve anything on this. I'm just bored and might as well keep them up and see if maybe, just maybe, if you sprinkle enough bait in the lake, maybe someone will take the bait, and maybe you have landed a whopper. But I doubt it. So now I guess I'm talking about plenty of fish, but I'm not gonna talk about that site. That site's just ass cheeks. But no, in particular to Bumble and Tinder, they basically exist to just feed off of your loneliness as a man. They don't care about if you actually get any results. This is why at times it'll feed you so many good results. You'll swipe on all of them and you'll get none of them, and then the results you do get are ladies that are of little to no interest to you, and then you're basically pissed because it makes you think, it makes you question your self-worth, and it lowers your self-esteem, because as a man, you look at yourself in the mirror after landing Gorlock the Destroyer or something on one of these apps, and you're like, damn, am I really that fucking ugly? You're not, dude. You're not. It's just that the app hates you, because the app wants to make sure that it finds some kind of way for you to pay for the microtransactions, because yes, in 2025, now Tinder and Bumble have had these features for quite some time now, but in the modern day, even dating apps have microtransactions, because of course the developers of these apps gotta make sure that they nickel and dime you for everything, even your own emotions and affections towards the opposite sex, because that's where we've landed as a society these days, capitalizing off others' misery, which that's really nothing new, but this is a new level of capitalizing off others' misery. Now you're capitalizing off the loneliness of men in the country and around the world. Very deep and dark shit to think about, but if there's some positive about this, it's that you are not the only one who is experiencing this. There is a lot of gentlemen who are experiencing this phenomena. And the best thing to do is don't take these things seriously. if you're gonna swipe on these apps, swipe on them just for the hell of it, just for the sake, just because you're like the Joker in this case in The Dark Knight. You don't do it because you have any sort of incentive to do it. You don't have any sort of financial gain or any, in this case, social gain or anything from it, or I guess dopamine gain, if you know what I'm talking about. You don't have any gain in regards to this. You're just doing this for the love of the sport, because why not? Maybe down the road you'll land a whopper, maybe you won't, but who cares? You browse through the local singles in your area, you decided to be judgmental because, you know, that's what we as a society are. We are very judgmental. Why do you think competitions like Miss Universe are still a thing in 2025? Because essentially, as men, we are basically judging women. And ladies, the same thing can be said about you. Don't think I forgot about you. You are also judging men. At the end of the day, we are both judging each other. Ladies, we know that you want a man who is tall and built like he's got the physique of Atlas, and he's got like he's making 100K a year, and he's driving like a Maserati or some shit, and he's an executive CEO or whatever, and he's living in his own home that's like 400K. And he's got his shit straight in his 20s. Look, we know that's very unrealistic, and that's asking for a whole lot. Which at the same time, as men, we're asking for quite a lot, and we're like, well, I wouldn't say we're asking for quite a lot. I know some people are gonna be, how? You just said all that the ladies want, and you, as a man, you're now saying that your standards are not as high. Well, to be fair, I think for the average dude, the standards are, look pretty, and don't be a bitch. That's about it. That's really the standard. Be pretty and don't be a bitch. You know, it sounds like on the opposite end, it's basically have this, look good, and have the physique of Atlas, and you also gotta be funny, or basically you gotta be funny to them, because you may not actually be funny, but if she thinks you're funny, then I guess you're funny in her mind. But that doesn't help when she ain't seeing that fat wallet, apparently, if you're looking at some of these profiles on Tinder. And I've seen some outright just asshole-ish things. And then I've seen some others where pretty simple, where it's like, I'm not really searching for anything, I'm just here because I'm bored. I'm just here so I won't get fined. Or I'm just here so I won't get fined. But I'm just here, I'm living in the moment, and whatever. But basically, if you're gonna go on these things, like I mentioned before, don't take them seriously. You're not ugly, gentlemen. You're all handsome devils. Well, yeah, you're all handsome devils, no homo. And I'm sure you will find that special someone someday. I'm sure I will someday. I'm sure y'all will. Don't let it get to you. The most finding a partner is, I would say, a lot harder than finding a job, which is quite incredible, because finding a job these days in America and most parts of the world is quite a difficult task. But from my personal experience, I found it a lot easier to find employment than finding a partner. So for most of you gentlemen, I'm sure that is a similar case, and if you're in that boat, it's alright, because at the end of the day, any money that you're making is going specifically to you, and most likely your bills that you're paying, if you're paying bills. But hey, a good chunk of that is still going to you at the end of the day. Enjoy the single life, because it does have its own perks, you know. And if you are blessed to receive the glorious gift of finding that someone, you know, you gotta make sure that you give 110, and if things don't work out, but you did give 110%, don't, you know, pat yourself on the back. It's not the end of the world. As I remember one of my college professors once said, there's plenty of fish in the sea. Not the app, just the fact that there's billions of people on this earth, and of those billions of people, about half of them are women. So there's bound to be somebody for you on this earth, and that somebody will appear someday. These apps are horseshit. They're basically just the dating equivalent of gacha games, or the dating equivalent of, I would say, I'm trying to think of a really bad example of like microtransactions littered everywhere. Like a really bad example of those crappy mobile games that you see advertised a lot on this website in particular, or on sites like TikTok, or any website you go to that says like, oh, like battle clash royale thing, legends of the whatever medieval crap with a bunch of AI generated slop everywhere that was like slapped together within a couple of hours, and it shows all these cool trailers, and then the actual game itself is just 2D slop made with probably with AI. You know, that's basically what these apps are. It's that but for dating. And you are wasting your time. Don't ever subscribe to things like Tinder Plus Premium Gold, whatever the hell they call it, or Bumble Plus Premium, whatever the hell they call that too. Don't subscribe to these premium services for these apps, because it's not going to make a difference anyways. People who have subscribed to these things in the past, from what I remember reading, have not really experienced any sort of actual gain from doing it. It still puts them, you know, in the same spot where they were before. Now the only difference is that they're not only are they losing hope in finding a partner, they're also losing money in their wallets or in their bank accounts, which is 10 times worse. Because losing hope in finding a partner is nowhere near as bad as losing your own capital. But yeah, no, don't ever subscribe to these things, because they're just there to get your money and get you hooked onto these things, because like gambling, it wants to make sure that you are constantly swiping and swiping and swiping and gambling on your chances against thousands of other men around the world to maybe land that baddie that you see on your screen, and in reality, you may not land that baddie that you see on your screen. Some other dude may land her, and she will most likely have like a 5-minute conversation with him and lose interest, and then go to the next husbando that she finds on these apps, and that's okay. Don't ever take these things seriously. Take them for what they essentially are. Slop that you find on app stores. You're only using them because you're curious to see the ladies that are in your local area. And if, you know, you're basically there to judge women. And ladies, you're there to judge men. We're both here to judge each other on these apps. It's a judging game. It's basically what I mean, hell, one of the people who runs Tinder, I think, used to be an employee or a big corporate exec at Zynga, which is the company that I think made Farmville, I want to say. So the guy's pretty familiar with the concept of monetization for everything. So we're basically it's a video game. I'll put it like this: Bumble and Tinder are mobile games where the goal of the game is to judge the opposite sex. And once you've judged the opposite sex so many times, maybe you may be blessed by the opposite sex and landing an actual date. And if not, they will try and shove these premium features at you to make you have the illusion of hope that you will actually land the one if you buy these crappy premium services, when in reality it's not doing shit. You're just losing money on this crap. And now you're gonna be not only depressed, but you're also gonna be broke. Hopefully you're not spending, you know, on these premium services to the point where you're broke. Now that's really bad. I doubt, but you know, I also, from what I've seen with gotchas, humanity knows no limits when it comes to the power of spending on dumb shit. But basically, don't get involved in them. And if you do get involved in them, take them for what they are. Just shitty apps that are basically games of judging the opposite sex. That's all they are. And don't beat yourself down if you don't land anything on them. Because as it turns out, most men don't really land anything on there either. Even men who have the physique of Atlas and all that stuff that the ladies are looking for may not even land that special someone. Even those guys. So don't feel bad. Pick yourself up and enjoy life around you. If you're a gamer, go on Steam and finish your backlog of games that you have that you've just left sitting there for so many years that you haven't done anything with, or you know, do some I don't know, like become a cook or something. Learn how to cook, or learn how to garden, or I don't know, get into mechanic work, or do something that makes you appreciate being on this earth as a man, from one straight man to another. Learn to not, basically, you don't need a partner. You know, be nice to have one, but you're not really in a rush to get one. Enjoy your own life, enjoy your own wealth, and make something of yourself, and basically live life to the fullest. Or as we used to say back in my day, YOLO. Anyways, I'd like to thank y'all for watching, and I will see y'all next time. Peace.